Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? This presentation is about to begin. Honorable Dr. Idris bin Osman and to all viewers. First of all, I would like to welcome you all to this forum discussion. On this occasion, we would like to present our group assignment project regarding is the new normal of hiring viable? Let me introduce to you our panel for this session. The first panel is Mr. Azizi bin Abu Bakar. The second panel is Tengku Muhammad Nazmi bin Tengku Muhammad Amran. The third panel is Nurul Ain binti Zabidi. The last panel is Nur Adillah Hasna binti Nordin and I, Khalil Ashraf bin Fazil, as moderator in this forum. The novel coronavirus pandemic first broke out in Wuhan and has been spreading throughout China and the world. The first case in Malaysia began in January 23, 2020, when the man returned from a meeting in Singapore. Malaysia began enforcing the Movement Control Order March 18, 2020. On March 25, 2020, the Prime Minister announced a first extension of the MCO till April 14 in a live national broadcast. The impact from this pandemic is huge discretion among small firms waiting a few weeks after it began. Food delivery, logistics, e-commerce, and app developer, for example, are all profiting in various ways from this pandemic. Some are losing their job, and some beginning to start getting job. The question is how company recruited the talent during this pandemic. As we can see, the many companies start to source talent via virtual to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Nowadays, this may be a new norm or trend to recruit talent. The first question I would like to ask is, what can you suggest for the new normal recruitment style?
Okay, thank you Mr. Khalil as our moderator today. Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera for all of you, and thank you for inviting me, and I'm very honored to have been invited to this forum. Can you take the impact of coronavirus? The organization is began to realize and found that there are methods practiced in HRM that are no longer effective and irrelevant. For example, more and more companies are actively recruiting, hiring, and onboarding without even meeting candidates face to face. Not to say that traditional methods are outdated, but still, we had to change our hiring plans and effort multiple times in response to the COVID-19 crisis. From traditional paper-based process to digital or electronic recruitment process, also known as e-recruitment. Referring to your question, what can I suggest for a new normal recruitment style? Okay, so our generation nowadays is spending more time on their phone to browse the information on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms. Thus, placing job vacancies on social media may attract the more candidates to apply for the job position. With an increase in candidates, the recruiter can select the more suitable and affordable person for that job position. Other than that, remote interviewing is involved job interview taking place using video conference such as Zoom, Teams, Cisco Webex, and similar platform is another strategy to carry out. So, with this method, it allows the applicants to have an informal discussion or meet with the trainees. This type of informal gathering can help the applicant to get more information and build a good relationship with the company. Besides, the company can establish a website. It also can seen as one type of virtual recruitment strategy. Build a website allow the person that is interested or someone that is finding a job to refer to the details of job vacancies. To ensure the applicants get the accurate information, the website must be always updated, and this can prevent the misunderstanding between candidates and recruiter. That's from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ai, for the suggestion of a new normal recruitment styles. Let me ask Mr. Tengku, what is actually virtual recruitment?
Thank you to our moderator and to all the fellow panels. Okay, actually, there are a few types of virtual recruitment, which is virtual reality and virtual recruitment. Virtual reality recruitment, or also known as VR recruitment, is a way utilizing virtual reality to engage potential applicants to join an organization. It provides more realistic and immersive look into organization and can help people gain better idea of what it would be like to join. While virtual recruitment is a talent acquisition process that takes place entirely over the internet, enabling the recruiters to attract, meet, and hire candidates without necessarily meeting face to face. That's all from me.
Thank you, Mr. Tengku. Based on the statement earlier, can Mr. Azizi tell us how do you recruit people virtually?
Thank you, Mr. Khalil. Assalamualaikum to all fellow panels and viewers. So, for us, virtual recruitment has been practiced before in hiring expatriates. However, as elaborated by Puan Ain earlier, when the pandemic kicked off, we changed our traditional way of recruitment and started to recruit, hire, and onboard people without ever meeting the candidates in person. The good news is that transitioning to visual recruitment is not as difficult as would imagine because of advancement in technology. The idea is to keep to the fundamentals, and we must firm determine the foundation for our recruitment philosophy and then apply it to the virtual world. First, we actively participate and hold our virtual job fairs. We use this to hold live video conferencing meetings by inviting prospective applicants to meet our hiring managers as well as virtual office tours. With this, it enables us to engage with the talent and give them opportunities to learn more about our organization. And second, after the virtual job fairs, we move to phone interviews. We do candidate screening with strong resumes or showing interest toward our organization. Typically, our recruiter will discover as much about the individual as possible before deciding for the next stage. We conduct our virtual interview as the third stage. The best part of a virtual interview session is allowing us to get to know the person before even getting to their skills. For example, because we see the candidate in their home surroundings, we might notice something on their desk or art hanging in the backdrop that can initiate a dialogue about the company's culture and belief. Not to forget, we also conduct several tests before selecting the employees, such as online cognitive ability tests. These tests examine a candidate potential performance in specific work-related circumstances and tasks, giving us a good indicator of how well the candidate will do in the role and also insight into how well they can digest information when working to a strict time constraint. Last but not least, after all the selection steps, we do our virtual onboarding. We make sure that new hires receive a full welcome email and all the information they require from HR. Our recruiter also set up a virtual meeting with managers and team members and also ensured that all the technology and tools were ready to go on day one. That's from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azizi, for the explanation. Ms. Adila, as a hiring manager, what is your perspective about virtual recruitment and selection?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Khalid, and Assalamualaikum. Okay, based on my perspective, if the virtual recruitment is conducted using the right way, it can be hugely successful. Through virtual and selection, it also offers cost saving and time compared to the benefit. It is a very good investment tool. What I mean by offering cost saving, as Mr. Azizi first point out, they launch a virtual job fair where the company doesn't have to spend the cost to set up the booth, and the candidate don't have to spend their money traveling for just interview. During my time, I also feel it was difficult to go for an interview because I am fresh graduate, not much money to travel. If they apply for virtual recruitment a long time ago, it would be much easier, and they wouldn't have to worry about the cost anymore. I guess that's all from me. Thank you, Ms. Kadi.
Thank you, Ms. Adila. What Ms. Adila said just now, Mr. Azizi, can you share with us how can the effectiveness of recruitment and selection process be measured?
Okay, so like any another unit in organization, the recruitment and selection process should be analyzed to ensure effective strategies and processes. When evaluating the effectiveness of recruitment, there are numerous metrics to assess. The most common recruitment metrics for us to consider, such as order fulfillment. This is one of the most common recruitment statistics in determining the effectiveness of our recruitment process. This metric can be measured in various ways, from candidate sourcing until onboarding or hours spent on each requisition. These results were excellent for uncovering inefficiencies and delays in the interview process. For metrics number two, quality of hire. Assessing the quality of candidate hired is equally important when determining the success of recruitment and hiring. However, this parameter can be challenging to quantify, primarily based on subjective feedback. We can do a survey to measure hiring satisfaction or look at the retention rates of new hires over time to get an impression of the quality. of hire. For matrix number 3, sourcing channel effectiveness. Source of the candidates is a great metric to help us determining what resources provide the highest ROI and deserve more attention. Where are the top performers coming and how did they know about our employment opportunities? Knowing where to source will help us accurately target the right candidate quicker. And I would emphasize this metric in measuring the effectiveness of recruitment, which is applicant satisfaction. When assessing a recruitment, most of us only think on how our business is impacted directly. However, what about the new hire? How was the experience from resume submission to sign off letter? It is good if we can administer a survey for new hire toward applicant satisfaction that will provide invaluable insight into candidate experience and help us to make adjustment. Also, when measuring the effectiveness, it is critical to define how the data for those metrics will be gathered, presented, and structured for undeniable benefits in the recruitment process. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azizi. I think there are lots of effectiveness of recruitment and selection process to be explained. But Mr. Tengku, with the advancement of technology, how can AI be used in recruitment?
AI will change the recruiter to augmented intelligence, which will allow recruiters to become more proactive in their hiring, help determine candidates' culture fit, and improve their relationships with hiring managers by using data to measure KPIs as quality of hire.
I'm sorry for interrupt. Okay, so to support the point from Tengku just now, I think the top benefit using AI in recruiting candidates is by adding AI to every level of recruitment and hiring. You can also attract the right applicant by asking the right question and make a smarter choice about who will be the best for your open position. This is to help you get a grasp of what AI can add in value to your recruiting on strategy level as well. For an example, writing better job posts. So, this day when you are trying to compose a job post, obviously you don't have job post writer, like professional job post writer, so that kinds of not profession that exists. So everybody tends to just wing it or copy it from somebody else job post, which given now the industry as a whole does not do a really good job of writing job posts that are really appealing to a candidate. It could be hard. So there are several companies who are trying to do like analysis amount of information and create better suggestion for how to write posts that are appealing to candidates to specific type. I think one of the best example and popular example in the company called Taxi, where it's something like a Chrome extension that as you're writing your job post, it makes suggestion on how you make it more appealing to certain types of candidate. If let's say you say I want to attract more diverse candidate, they have a lot of data and training model to that say, okay, this type of facing tends to get more diverse applicant. I guess one thing that ties into it is something like primary, which try to use AI to just improve your writing overall, but this it has a way more recruiting focus and like way more nice into how you make it more appealing, right? Which is great because if you can't really deploy the data and analysis that way, I guess that's all for me.
Thank you, Ms. Adila. Madam Ain, can you share with us what kind of tasks will AI handle for recruiters?
Okay, thank you for your question, Mr. Moderator. Good question, actually. What kind of tasks will AI handle for recruiter? So, as an interviewer and recruiter who works with HR management, I have a lot of experience interviewing candidates. Most of them come from very different background of education, different levels of experience, and others. Regarding to your question, there are many areas where AI can be implemented and it can be take place in many different forms. Nowadays, AI has massive potential when it comes to recruiting and selecting process. You know why? Not to cut our job actually, but to speed up hiring, eliminate manual tasks, and make recruiter far more prolific. For example, I give you a situation. There's a lot of candidates who will apply for vacancies, and they are offered by our company. Maybe the candidates can reach about 1,000. Can you imagine? Surely there are a lot of resume that we have to take a look. Do you think that you can do with the manual task? Check one by one who suit our criteria. I think we don't have the able to do like that lah. So we use our technology nowadays is already advanced. So regarding this method, AI can use by information extraction technique that can make the process of resume scanning and extraction relevant information. So can make recruiter evaluation tasks more efficient, which considerably cuts the time needed. Other than that, like Mr. Azizi said just now, some companies will conduct several online tests before selecting the candidates as employees. For example, Interview Mocha, one of the AI tools that can provide online assessment software for pre-employment skill testing. So, actually there are a lot of functions and tasks that AI can be implemented to our daily job. And why do we want to make our work difficult? Why we have the technology that can help us? However, this AI will not fully replace a recruiter job. It goes without saying that AI will be widely and increasingly used with better and more effective results. Still, the human touch will always be needed, and still some activities that should be conducted by humans, such as negotiation, appraisal of cultural fit, and rapport building. That's from me. Thank you.
Thank God, Madam Ain. Based on the statement just now regarding AI will not fully replace a recruiter's job, can you explain to us, Mr. Azizi, will AI be able to handle tasks that require more personal touch?
Thank you, Khalil. So for me, it is no. AI can't handle the personal touch in the recruitment process. I still believe that human intervention is needed for hiring and selection. There is no doubt that AI is a great for HR in increasing productivity and improving the candidate experience. As discussed by Puan Ain before, with the technology, it can streamline the recruiting process by automating the high volume and time consuming tasks such as candidate sourcing, screening and selection, as well as communication to the candidate, and indirectly provides a better candidate experience. According to a recent survey by Conferis, most professionals would still trust a flesh and blood recruiter more. 90% of respondents agreed that technology cannot replace human interaction to recruit effectively. AI in recruitment is still far from being considered excellent. One of the crucial problems of the candidate tracking system is due to lack of accuracy and reliability, as formatting can easily cause confusion. For example, an applicant may have the good characteristic that a recruiter needs, but still fail to qualify into the AI list because of specific unorthodox style of bullet points spelled out in the applicant or CVs. Also, AI lacks the nuance of human judgment. For example, if an organization wants to diversify their workforce, applying artificial intelligence in the hiring process may not be the ideal approach. Applicants have a typical work experience who may be the best fit for the role due to their personality, personal interests, characters, and work ethics. These are factors that require human judgment. Using an AI in this sense can greatly reduce the diversity in workforce. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azizi. As you mentioned just now, AI in recruitment is still far from being considered excellent. The question is, Mr. Tengku, can AI replace the human recruiter?
In my opinion, AI has the ability to analyze large sets of data that are found on job boards or social media. For example, if any of the resumes the AI come across matches the specific keywords or parameters for an open role, it is a match in the AI's book. A human recruiter can spend hours, often hours, sourcing the job boards or social media for candidates. But this low value task takes recruiters away from engaging with candidates who are further down the hiring process. So I say yes, AI can replace recruiters when it comes to sourcing candidates, Mr. Khalid.
Thank you, Mr. Tengku. What Mr. Tengku said just now, he agreed that AI can replace recruiter. So my next question is, Madam Ain, Will virtual recruitment replace traditional recruitment?
There's a difference between the visual recruitment and traditional recruitment process. Eventually, in the traditional recruitment process, organizations use newspaper as a medium to spread the news about vacancies in their organization. The other method is using the local employee office for posting vacancies, which will affect the organization financially. After that, during the interview session, the interviewer will meet the candidate face to face. But for the e-recruitment process, like Mr. Tengku said, a talent acquisition process that takes place entirely over the internet, enabling the recruiters to attract, meet, and hire candidates without necessarily meeting face to face. One other major advantage is time saving. By using the internet, we can reduce our paperwork and also can give posting at any time by being anywhere through the access of the internet. Other than that, we can minimize the hiring cost. So, by this method, it can eliminate traveling expenses and third-party recruiters' fee. It also can shorten the process of hiring time by screening, filtering, and sorting the application. Even though the process e-recruitment is very easy and effective process, it has some disadvantage too. That may be some cases it leads to imperfect candidates. That means sometimes without meeting and talking to a person, we might not know whether he is fit for the job or not. And also, another disadvantage we can talk about is job seeker get insufficient information about the organization, and also sometimes there are maybe an error that can occur in the official website. Therefore, from my point of view as an interviewer, I can suggest that organization should not replace the recruitment process with the traditional recruitment process. So, as an interviewer, while the interview session, what do you expect from the candidates? For me, when we do the face-to-face, the first impression is more important. So from there, you can see and observe each of the candidates react and their behavior. Okay, so the traditional process should continue along with the online recruitment process and should be the perfect use of balance between the combination of online method. So even though the process of recruiting people through traditional method is time consuming, it is sometimes necessary to know the complete details of the employee to remove future complications that can occur when organization give the post to a wrong person. I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Can Ms. Adila share with us what is the best preparation for recruiters and candidates before beginning the online interview session?
Basically, when we are using an online video conference, we will have to face some technical issue during the interview session. To avoid this matter happening, you need to ensure the application is ready to use and check the latest update. Those who are not yet proficient in using the application, they are encouraged to try practicing using the application first. Besides, the recruiter and candidate also need to check the stability of their internet. Backing will happen in times. We need to have a backup plan to ensure the interview will be conducted smoothly. For the recruiter, they must ensure all the documents about the candidate has already been printed out and all the form must be complete by the candidate. Meanwhile, preparation for the candidates, before you go to the interview session, you must do the research about the company first, get to know the background and basic fact about the company. This way to ensure that you understand more about the company and about what kind of job you apply. This is to tackle the hiring manager. And also, you have to do some homework about the common question interview. This is shown how much you put enough effort on the job. Dress up playing a very important role before an interview. The candidate must dress up professionally. Okay, so before the interview session start, you need to make sure you are in a quiet room where you may not be disturbed by human beings, pets, and many others. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you to all the panelists for sharing your perspective and explanation about the new normal of hiring. Our panel provides us with pros and cons about the new normal of hiring. In my opinion, the virtual recruitment process is the best way for organizations to respond to the government's call to stop the spread of the COVID-19. It's allowed the recruiter to save time when pre-screening all the application from the candidates. The answer to the question, is the new normal hiring reliable? Is depend on their integrity during the recruitment process. Every process must follow a standard operating procedure and guidelines given by the organization. Every employee has a right to speak up about their right if there is misconduct or error in the organization management. That's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.